What is up, everybody? Welcome to the Game Night YouTube channel. In today's video, guys, I'm going to teach you how to play Escape the Dark Castle, a game of atmospheric adventure. I'm also going to do a full playthrough of the game in today's video, so that way you can see the whole game in action. Guys, I've got all of the contents of the game laid out on the table here, and we're going to go through everything before we get into the how to play and playthrough section of the video. So we got the box right here that everything comes in, sort of like a medium box game, I guess you could say. Really awesome artwork is the first thing that struck me about the game. It's all in black and white, very stylized, really beautiful art. On the back of the box, it shows you all of the contents that you get inside of the game, which of course is laid out here on the table, minus this little dice tray, of course. I'm just using this to roll some dice in for the playthrough, and it gives you a little synopsis of the game on the back. It says, after years of wrongful incarceration, you finally break free of your cell. Now you face danger at every turn on a desperate quest to escape. Escape the Dark Castle is a simple fantasy adventure game with a focus on atmosphere, storytelling, and player cooperation, perfect for newcomers to tabletop gaming. Players take the roles of prisoners and must work together using dice and item cards to overcome the castle's many horrors, traps, and challenges. Can you escape the dark? And it looks like it's published by Themeborn, and then it shows you all the contents of the game over this way. So you get 45 chapter cards, which I've got laid out over here. So we've got, we'll set these aside for now. We've got 45 of these chapter cards, so they'll all be black on the back, and then on the flip side, they're going to have like a narrative plot line and then some decisions for the players to make. There will be battles that you have to get into, all kinds of tough decisions that you need to make one way or the other, what you want to do, how you want to proceed through the castle. And then you've got 35 item cards. So you've got this little like medium-sized deck of item cards right here. They're not quite as big as a playing card, but they're not quite as small as like a mini card from the Game Crafter, if you're familiar. It's a little bit in between. So you've got your deck of 35 item cards. Then you've got 6 character cards. So these are also big cards, which you could see, guys. These chapter cards and these character cards, they're huge. Like, look at my hand compared to the size of the card. It like takes up my whole hand. It's a really big card right here. So you get 6 of these character cards, and they each have some specialties that are unique to each character, which we'll get into here in a little bit. You also get 3 boss cards. So you get these 3 cards here with a big dungeon door on the back, and these are your boss cards. And it's important. It says, do not read until you have completed the last chapter card. So you don't want to reveal this until the very end of the game. So we'll put those there. You're also going to get 1 start card, which is this card right here with the castle on it, and it says turn over to begin. So you'll always have this on top of your chapter deck whenever you start the game. You get 9 chapter dice, which are these black dice over here, and they have 3 different icons on them. 2 of the sides will have a wisdom symbol, 2 of the sides will have a might symbol, and then 2 of the sides will have a cunning symbol with a little eyeball right there. So those are the chapter dice, the black dice. And then you're going to get 6 character dice, which are these white dice here, and they'll each have a character name on it. Taylor, Smith, Miller, Tanner, Abbott, and Cook. And those are going to pertain to each of the 6 characters. And as shown on the character card, like the Abbott, for instance, he's got 4 pips that are wisdom. He's got 3 of the pips on his die are might, and only 1 pip for cunning. So each character will have different stats. You can see the Cook, she's got 4 might, 3 cunning, and only 1 wisdom. So yeah, each character is going to have their own unique die with a different number of pips on each face. And then you've got a score pad. So the game comes with this little score pad. It also comes with a pack of 4 pencils. So you could use this to jot down your health, any items that you pick up, maybe any like status effects that you acquire. But what I'm going to do in today's playthrough is I'm actually going to use a couple of D20s here to keep track of some health. And these do not come with the game, so if you've got some D20, you could use those instead of the little pad, instead of the score pad. And then the game comes with a rule book, and we got the rule book right here. Really nice. It goes through literally everything you need to know. It's very short because honestly, the game is super easy to set up and learn, man. It's surprisingly simple to set up and learn. So it comes with this nice little rule book right here, and that is basically it for all of the contents of the game. So that takes about 30 minutes to play. It's for 1 to 4 players, so you can play this solo, or you can play it in a group setting with your buddies. It is for ages 14 and up, and it says at the bottom the game features. It's a 2-minute setup, super fast to set up. Simple rules, it's easy to learn, it's social and cooperative gameplay, or you could play it alone if you want to. It has a rich atmospheric adventure, and it's a different castle every time you play through the game. So I'm going to show you how to set it up, and we're going to get into a playthrough now. So I'm going to go ahead and set the box off to the side, like so. And we're going to go ahead and hop into how to set up the game. So the first thing you're going to want to do is remove all of the boss cards and the cover card here. You'll set those off to the side. And then you're going to take the rest of the chapter cards and you're going to shuffle them up. So even though they're pretty big, you can actually riffle shuffle these like so by getting the corners together. So we'll go ahead and give these a couple of shuffles here and get them mixed up. There we go. And because the cards are so big, they have a lot of give to them. So it makes it actually fairly simple to riffle shuffle them like this. There we go. Now you're going to count out 15 of these cards. So we're going to go 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 15, like so. And the rest of the chapter cards you're going to set off to the side. So this is going to make up the bulk of your chapter deck. So you can already see how each castle, each chapter deck is going to be different because there's a lot of cards left over. So the next time you play, you might get completely different cards and in a completely different order. So every time you play will be different. Now we're going to take the 3 boss cards and we're going to give them a little mix like so. And then we'll put one of them on the bottom of the deck. We'll set the other 2 off to the side. You won't need them. And then finally, you're going to take your cover card and you're going to set it on top of the chapter deck like so. And you have created your chapter deck. Cool, so we'll leave that right there. And then we're going to go ahead and choose our characters. So if you're playing with multiple people in a multiplayer setting from 1 to 4 players, you would lay out the character cards and you would each choose a character and then take the corresponding die that goes with that character. If you're playing the solo mode, you're going to choose 2 of the characters and you're going to play as both of them. So in this playthrough, we'll just go ahead and play the abbot and the cook. They're right there on the top. We'll choose those. And then we'll set the other 4 characters off to the side. And then we're going to take the die that corresponds to each of these characters. So we've got the cook's die right here, and we've got the abbot die right here. And the other 4 character dice we don't need, so we'll just set those off to the side. There we go. And then we'll take the item deck here and give it a little mix. And give the item deck a shuffle. You've got 35 items, so there are quite a few items that you can come across as you make your way through the dungeon. There's potions, there's food you can get to heal. There's different weapons you can pick up to augment dice rolls. There we go. So we'll shuffle those up and set them to the right of your chapter deck over this way. Nice. And the goal of the game is essentially you are a prisoner, you're a pair of prisoners if you're playing solo, and you're trying to escape the Dark Castle. So you want to make your way all the way through the chapter deck, get to the boss, defeat the boss, and then escape the castle. If at any point during your adventure through the castle, either one of your characters, if you're playing solo, if either one of your characters loses all of their health, the game is over. If you're playing in a multiplayer setting, if even just one of the players' characters loses all of their health, the game is over. So you have to succeed as a group. Very important. So you can't continue if any of the characters perish. You got to start all the way over from the beginning and make a brand new castle, choose characters again, and go through the game again. And then you can have your chapter dice set nearby. I'm just going to set them up this way, sort of in the middle top area. And you're essentially going to treat your chapter deck like a book, and you're going to flip pages over to the left, kind of like you're turning pages in a book. Cool. It's also very important too, and it notes in the rules that Escape the Dark Castle is meant to be very thematic and immersive, and there's going to be some italic text on these cards that's sort of like a narrative that's giving you like the description of the room that you're in and what's going on in the room, and it emphasizes not to skip that stuff because that's a huge part of the game, is to sort of immerse yourself in the narrative of what's going on, and it's meant to be an experience. You don't want to just skip straight to the decisions and the dice rolls and play it mechanically. You can if you want to, but I feel like that would spoil the whole purpose of the game. So make sure that you read through all of that stuff, and that way you kind of immerse yourself into the adventure as you're making your way through the Dark Castle and trying to escape. Cool. There's also some combat mechanics, and to demonstrate that, I'm going to actually look through the cards that we haven't used so that I can give you like a little idea of how that's going to work. We're going to run into it whenever we we run into enemies inevitably in the chapter deck here in the gameplay, in this playthrough, but I'll go ahead and kind of explain this now. So if anytime you run into combat, you'll see that in the bottom left, there are a couple of icons, and in the bottom right, there's a number. This number in the bottom right is the amount of damage that the enemy is going to inflict to characters that haven't defended during that turn. So the way combat works is it essentially has two different phases, attack and defend. It's extremely simple. Before each combat, you can decide to rest. So only one character may rest each combat. So if you're playing solo, you can only choose one of your characters to rest during that round of combat. And again, a round is just the attack phase and the defense phase, and then it loops around again into a new round of combat, another attack and another defense phase. And you keep looping through that until either one of your characters dies and the game is over and you lose, or until you defeat the enemy that you're fighting against. So when you rest, the character that rests is not able to attack, they won't take any damage that round, and they're not able to use any items, and instead they'll heal 1 HP. And each round, a different character or a different player, their character can choose to rest. Also, and you don't have to rest, you could decide not to rest. Once you've decided if anybody is going to rest or not, all the other players who want to take part in the combat are all going to roll their character die simultaneously, and you're going to use the values on the character die to deal damage to the enemy. Now, the way this is going to work pertains to the symbols in the bottom left portion of the card. So for this particular enemy here, it shows a cunning symbol, the eye. So you would take one of these chapter dice and set it to the eye underneath the enemy. And then next to it, there's a little like person sign, like a little meeple symbol. That means that for the number of players that are in the game, or if you're playing solo, the number of characters in the game too, you would roll that many chapter dice, and you would add those icons to the enemy. So in this case, we've got the cook and the abbot. We've got 2 characters, so we roll. And so we get another cunning and a wisdom. So now, at the start of combat, again, we can choose to rest if we want to, and you would heal 1 HP. Only one character may rest per round. I'm going to choose not to rest. So in this case, I would attack with the abbot and the cook in the attack phase. We would roll our dice, and we would check the icons. We got unbelievably lucky in this example here. So we got a wisdom icon with the abbot that would allow us to remove this wisdom die. And we got a double cunning icon with the cook, which would allow us to remove 2 cunning icons. And we defeated the enemy. So in this case, we would get to draw an item from the item deck, only one item, and then you would decide which of the characters would get the item. If you're playing in a multiplayer setting, you would draw the item from the item deck, lay it face up in the middle of the table, and you would decide as a group who gets the item. It's also worth noting that these character dice have a couple of sides, a couple of faces on each die that will have like a little shield symbol with double icons in the center. So as you just saw, if you ever roll double icons and the enemy has 2 of that icon, like in this case when they had the 2 cunning and we rolled a double cunning, you're able to remove both of those. If they only had 1 cunning, you would just remove that 1. Also, the way the shield works is it plays into the second half of the combat round, which is the defense part of the round. So let's say that in this example, let's say that the cook did roll double cunning, but let's say that maybe the abbot didn't roll wisdom and he rolled might instead. So we weren't able to get rid of all of the chapter dice from the enemy. In this case, the enemy is still alive, so it would strike back at the end of the combat round. And since the cook rolled a shield icon, she would defend and take no damage. But since the abbot did not roll a shield icon on his die, he would take damage equal to the value printed in the bottom right portion of the enemy card, which would be 2. Also important to note that if you're playing a 1-player game and you're playing with 2 characters, or if you're playing in a group setting and you're playing with 1 other person and you each have 1 character, so if you're either playing with 1 or 2 characters, they'll each start with 18 health. So we're going to set 18 health up on our characters here. If you're playing with 3 players, so 3 characters, they'll each start with 14 health. And if you're playing with 4 players, which is the maximum, each character will start with 12 health. So 18 for 1 and 2, 14 for 3 players, and 12 health for 4 players. Cool. And again, once you defeat the enemy does not get to strike back. As soon as you get rid of all their chapter dice, the combat is over, and you'll draw 1 item from the item deck and then choose which player is going to get it, and you choose as a group if you're playing in multiplayer, and of course single player, you just choose which of your two characters you want to give that item to. Characters can only hold 2 items at a time. Think of it as you've got 2 hands, so they can only hold 1 item in each hand. Players may trade items between characters, if either in a multiplayer setting or in a single player setting. You could trade the items back and forth between characters, but only after you've resolved the current chapter card and before you flipped the next one. You can never trade items back and forth while you're in the middle of resolving a chapter card, and you can trade as freely as you would like, as long as you keep the minimum requirement of having only 2 items in your hand or less. It's also worth noting too, if you ever come across new items and you're already holding 2 items, you can use the ones that are in your hand to free up a slot to pick up a new one. You can even set down one of the items that you're currently holding to pick up a new item, use that new item, and then pick back up the item that you set down. So it gives you a lot of leeway to play with how you use items during that portion of the game. Also, as far as using items, even though you can only trade items in between chapter cards, you can use items whenever you want. You can use items during chapter cards, in between, whenever you'd like. And some item cards will tell you whenever such and such happens, you can use this. So those have certain times that the card is able to be used. But the general rule is that you can use items at any point in the game that you'd like. Cool. The only time that you can't is when you rest. Again, as stated earlier, whenever a character rests during a round of combat, they can't attack, they can't take damage, and they cannot use items. Cool, so that's the way combat works. It's pretty simple. Very, very simple. So we're going to go ahead and set our cards back over here to the side. And I believe that is basically it, guys. That is pretty much the rules of the game. You now know how to play Escape the Dark Castle, and now we're going to get into an actual playthrough of the game so you could see it in action. So we're going to set our cook die back over here. We're going to set our abbot die back over here, and we're going to go ahead and get into it, dude. So it says turn over to begin. One last thing to mention too, and this is the perfect time to do it. You don't need to necessarily do this on the first card, on the cover card, but every subsequent card after the first card, you'll need to decide which character or which player, if you're playing in multiplayer, is going to flip the card. Now this is important because some of the cards, let me see if I can find one in the extra cards that we have over here. Some of the cards will have the word you on it, and it'll be in bold text. So like here, it says, you must try to roll cunning or a double in 1 attempt, and the word you is in bold. That refers to the player who opened the door or flipped that chapter card over. There's a lot of cards in the game. Most of the cards in the game will kind of pertain to the whole group. But if it ever says you in bold text, it is specifically talking about the player that decided to open the door. So if you're playing solo, like I am today, you'll choose which of your characters is the one to open the door. And if it says you, yada yada, that character will have to either, make the roll that it's specifying or suffer the consequence or gain the reward that it's specifying. If you're playing in a multiplayer setting, you'll have to decide as a group which of you is going to open the door or, flip the chapter card. So if one of you is really low on health, you might be like, guys, I don't want to open the door. Can somebody else open the door just in case something bad happens? So you'll have to decide as a group, because remember, if even one of you dies, you all lose the game. Cool. So again, you don't have to worry about that on this very first card, on the cover card, but every subsequent card after that, you have to be mindful of that. So we're going to go ahead and turn over to begin. So we'll flip this over. It says, after years of incarceration in the depths of the Dark Castle, you finally break free of your cell. In a small stone room adjoining the cell block stands an old wooden chest. The lock is open. Draw an item card per player now. Okay, so you go ahead and draw your item cards. Again, it says per player, so if you were playing in a multiplayer setting, let's say you were playing with the maximum players of 4, you would draw 4 items, and then you would choose as a group who gets which item. If you're playing solo and you're piloting 2 characters, you'll draw 2 items, and you'll choose which character gets which item. So we've got the healing verses. It's a relic. Whenever you roll a double, you may restore 1 HP to any character. Okay, that's cool. So we'll just go ahead and give that to, we'll give that to the abbot. That seems like something that he would have. And then we've got the elixir of insight, which is a potion. Discard before any round of combat to change any chapter die to show a trait of your choice. So again, this kind of harkens back to what I was mentioning a couple minutes ago. This says discard before any round of combat. So you can play items at any time, but certain ones will specify a particular time that you have to play it. This one happens to be before any round of combat. And it allows you to change a chapter die to show a trait of your choice. So as I showed you with the enemy a little while ago, we had the couple of cunning and we had a wisdom down here. This potion would allow you to change one of these to be any face of your choice, and that's very helpful considering that each of your characters has certain attributes, whether it's might, cunning, or wisdom, that they have a higher chance of rolling on their die. So like you can see, for instance, the cook, she's got 4 lines here for might. She's got a might symbol here. She's got a double might symbol there for 3, and then she's got another one here. So she's got a 50% chance to roll might, and then she's got 3 of the cunning icons. So she's got a double here, and then she's got a single here for 3, and then she's got one face of her die that has the wisdom icon. So using little items like this to try to game the chances of you rolling that particular chapter die icon is really, really useful. So you've got those items to do that with. So we'll go ahead and give the elixir of insight to the cook. That makes sense too. She probably brewed up a little potion. Cool. And then it says, you hear footsteps approaching. You must not linger here. You make for the exit, slipping away and disappearing into the darkness. Turn the first chapter card now. Okay, so now we need to decide which of our characters is going to open the door. So we're going to have the abbot take the lead here. The abbot's going to take the lead. He's clutching his healing verses in his fist. We open the door. It says, to enter this door, you are forced to push aside thick, thorn-covered vines. They spring to life, binding your wrists and hauling you into the thicket beyond. You lose 1 HP. So it has the word you in bold. So that refers to the character that opened the door and flipped that chapter card, which is the abbot. So the abbot loses 1 HP and goes down to 17. Hacking at the aggressive weeds eventually causes them to recede through cracks in the old stone walls, leaving behind the belongings of previous victims. Draw 2 item cards. Okay, so we took a little bit of damage, but we get to draw a couple of item cards, and then we can decide how we want to distribute these. Again, in a multiplayer setting, if you're playing with 4 people, only 2 of you are going to get, these items, or 1 person might get both items. You get to decide amongst yourselves how best to distribute these items. Cool, so we've got a liquid luck potion. Discard to re-roll your character die, applying only the second result. And we have a partially rotten apple, which is food. You can discard to restore 1 HP to your character. So we're going to go ahead and give the apple to the abbot, and we're going to give the liquid luck potion to the cook. And you can use your items at any time. So we're going to go ahead and have the abbot eat the rotten apple, discard to restore 1 HP to your character. So we'll put this in a discard up this way, and he's going to go right back up to 18 HP. There we go. Cool. Okay, and that is it. So we're done with that chapter card. So now, again, we have to decide which of our characters, or in a multiplayer setting, which player is going to flip the next chapter card. So the abbot's going to continue to lead the way. He's not too phased. He's a little shaken. Your boot catches a tripwire. This guy is very unlucky. Your boot catches a tripwire, releasing a shower of acid from above. All players must try to roll cunning in 1 attempt. So if it says all players in a multiplayer setting, obviously it means all the players must do this. If it says all players on a card and you're playing solo, you can translate that into all characters. So all 2 of your characters must try to roll cunning in 1 attempt. So let's go ahead and roll. The cook is going to have a fairly good shot at it. The abbot, not so much. He's only got one die face that has cunning. Okay, so neither of them rolled it. Now, if we wanted to, we could use the liquid luck to re-roll our character die, applying only the second result, but I think I'm going to hang on to that. I think I'm going to save it. Okay, so they both failed, unfortunately. It says, for each player, failure, the acid splash begins to sizzle and smoke, burning through an item you are carrying. Discard 1 item. If you have 2, shuffle them face down and discard 1 at random. If you have none, lose 1 HP as the acid sears your flesh. Well, that sucks. So the abbot is going to lose his little verses here, his scroll. The cook is going to have to lose a random item here. So we'll give these a little mix. And she's going to lose her liquid luck potion. So she loses it either way. But she does keep her elixir of insight here. Cool. Okay. That was kind of brutal. At least we didn't lose any health, I suppose. So the abbot is going to continue to lead the way. We're going to flip the next card, and ooh, here we go. So as you can see, we got these little icons down here, the chapter dice, and a damage icon. This is an enemy, as if it's not obvious enough by the image. Also, guys, how cool is this artwork, man? It is so freaking cool. I love this style. It says, you interrupt a beast man devouring a fresh kill. He raises his head, sinew dangling from his gore-smeared mouth, and then charges. You must try to roll might or a double in one attempt. Uh-oh. Okay. So we got to go ahead and roll. It says you in bold, so that means the character who opened the door, which is the abbot. So he's got to roll might or a double in one attempt. He's got a fairly good shot at it. Let's see if he can pull it off. He doesn't. He doesn't. Failure. You, again in bold, so the abbot, are slammed to the floor, lose 2 HP, begin combat. Oh no, guys. So he's going to go from 18 down to 16. And now we have to begin combat. Okay, so this bull demon thing has 1 might, it has 1 cunning, and then it has the little people symbol, the little meeple symbol right there, which means that we need to roll for the number of characters or players in the game. So we're going to roll 2 of these chapter dice. And he's going to have another might and a wisdom. All right, so we need to get 2 might, 1 cunning, and 1 wisdom. A little bit of everything. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and attack. I'm going to choose not to rest. Again, you have to choose if you want to rest at the start of a combat round. I'm going to choose not to rest. We're going to go ahead and attack here. See what damage we can do. Okay, we get a couple of might rolls in, so that's going to get rid of each of these might dice here. Nice. But then the enemy is still alive. He still has chapter dice on it, so it's going to retaliate and do 2 damage to each of our characters since neither of them rolled a double shield symbol. So we're going to go down to 14 here. It's also worth noting, too, at this point in the game, it's probably a good time to mention it. It says in the rulebook, like, basically, don't get discouraged. The game is difficult. The game can be very difficult. Maybe not as difficult as finding 14 on a d20. There we go. But it is difficult. So you're probably gonna get destroyed quite a few times before you actually make it all the way through. So don't fret. Okay, so we took our damage. Now a new round of combat starts. Again, it's the start of a combat round, so you could decide to have 1 character or 1 player choose to rest. I'm not going to. I want to hopefully try to take him out right here. So they're going to attack. Okay, the cook got a cunning icon, so we get rid of this cunning here. But the abbot, unfortunately, did not roll wisdom, but fortunately, he did roll a double, a shield icon. So now that the enemy is going to retaliate, since it still has a die on it, a chapter die, the abbot is going to take 0 damage since he got the, and you can see it says abbot on the die. He's going to take 0 damage since he got the shield. And then the cook, unfortunately, is going to take 2 damage. She did get in close to get an attack in, so that does make sense. So she's going to go down to 14. There we go. And you know what? I think I'm going to actually have the cook rest this combat. So she's going to go up to 15. And the reason I'm going to do that is because the abbot has a lot of wisdom. We've got a 50-50 shot here because he's got a single, he's got another single, and then he's got a double. So we've got a 50-50 shot at rolling wisdom here to take out this beast. And we didn't do it, but we did roll a shield. So the beast attacks for 2, and we don't take any damage. And again, a character that rests steps back out of the combat. They don't attack, but they also don't take damage. And again, they can't use items while they're resting. So we're going to start another combat round. I'm going to rest the cook again, and she's going to go up to 16. So it's very, you can see using rest strategically is very, very useful. We're going to go ahead and roll with the abbot again. And he doesn't get the wisdom, but he does shield again. He's buying the cook some time over here, so he takes no damage. The cook is going to rest once again and go up to 17. Also worth noting, you can never go above your starting health. You can never go above your starting health. So if you're playing with 1 or 2 players, and you've got 1 or 2 characters, or you'll never have 1 character, because even if you play solo, you'll have 2 characters. You can't go above 18. If you're playing with 3 players, you can't go above 14 health, and if you're playing with 4 players, you can never go above your starting health of 12. Okay, the abbot's going to attack again, the beast man here, and he gets it, dude. He rolls wisdom, and he takes down the beast man. Let's go. So the beast man is immediately defeated, and we get to draw 1 item card. Okay, we drew the Rusted Flail. It's a weapon, and it's one-handed. So you'll draw weapons that can either be one- or two-handed. If it's one-handed, then that means that you can hold it and a second item. If it's two-handed, you can only hold that one item, or that one weapon. It says once per round of combat, when you roll cunning, you may roll again and choose which of the two results to apply. That is insanely powerful, and that's not one combat total, it's one round of combat. And again, a round of combat is the attack phase and the defense phase. So every round, whenever you roll cunning, whoever has this weapon can choose and roll again. Now, the abbot only has one cunning on his die, whereas the cook, she's got 3 chances to roll cunning. I think she's got 2, yeah, 1, and then a double. So we're going to actually give her the rusted flail because she can make better use of it. So you can already see how deciding as a group who should get which items is really going to help you and benefit you as you make your way through the castle. So you can kind of maximize your chances of winning using your items properly. Okay, cool. So we took down the enemy. I think the cook is actually going to take the lead here, and she is going to flip over the next card. Okay, she's feeling all healed up after resting. So it says, as you pass an ornate mirror in this bedchamber, twisted versions of yourselves step through it with murderous intent. You become separated and must fight alone. Each player must roll their die twice and place corresponding chapter dice in front of them to represent their doppelganger. Place only 1 die for each double rolled and begin combat. Whoa, that is very interesting. And then it says combat special. No player can rest until their doppelganger is defeated. They may then either rest or help another player defeat theirs. A player aiding another takes damage as normal and must declare who they are aiding before they roll. Okay, this is crazy. So a pair of doppelgangers of the cook and the abbot come stepping out of this mirror, and we've got to fight them, and we're separated, so we have to fight them one at a time. So it says each player must roll their die twice and place corresponding chapter dice in front of them to represent their doppelganger. Okay, so we're going to roll for the cook. Okay, she gets a wisdom. We're going to roll one more time, and she gets a might. There we go. And then we're going to roll for the abbot. We get a might. And I wonder if that's double? Oh no, it says place only 1 die for each double rolled. Okay, cool, good. that would have been gnarly. And then he gets a cunning as well. Nice. Cool. Okay, and then it says yeah, place only 1 die for each double rolled, and then begin combat. And again, the combat special is no player can rest until their doppelganger is defeated, and they may then either rest or help another player defeat their doppelganger. And a player aiding another takes damage as normal and must declare who they're aiding before they roll. The doppelgangers deal 1 damage as shown in the bottom right portion of the card, and they can only fight 1 at a time. So I guess let's go ahead and they're gonna have to fight separately. So I guess we'll go ahead and do the cook first. So she's gonna roll, and she gets a wisdom symbol. It was eluding me there for a second. She gets a wisdom symbol, so she gets to remove 1 wisdom chapter die, and then she's gonna take 1 damage since there's still a chapter die remaining. So she's gonna go down to 16, like so. Cool, and then she's gonna attack again. And she rolls might, and she takes down her doppelganger. Wow, dude's amazing. The cook is on fire right now, dude. Okay, then the abbot is going to go. Also, the cook just beat hers, so I would imagine she can come and help the abbot. So we're going to go ahead and roll for both, because it does say that a player aiding another takes damage as normal. And I'm kind of wondering if you're actually supposed to go one after the next. Maybe so. I think the abbot was maybe supposed to go after the cook, because otherwise you could just have one player defeat theirs and then go help the other player. Yeah, we're going to go ahead and have the abbot go at least 1 time by himself here. So he rolls, oof, and he misses, man. He completely misses. So he's going to take 1 damage and go down to 13. And then the cook is going to have defeated her doppelganger, and she's going to come over and assist him. If she can come assist me to find 13 on this thing, that would be fantastic. There we go. Okay, so she's going to come help the abbot. And, oh man, okay, so the cook is going to get a hit in. I mean, they both get a hit in here for might. But then the abbot is going to shield himself. He's not going to take any damage, but the cook is. She's going to go down to 15. Okay, and then they're going to attack again. They just need 1 cunning. Oh, you know what I just realized? Oh, no, that's only if you roll cunning. Yeah, it's only if you roll cunning. Okay, they need cunning right here. Oh, they don't get it. So the abbot misses. The cook does roll a shield icon, so she's going to defend herself, but the abbot is going to take 1 damage and go down to 12. Like so. Okay, they're going to go ahead and attack again. There we go, and the cook rolls cunning. Dude, the cook is absolutely on fire right now, dude. The kitchen is on fire, dude. She destroys the abbot's doppelganger, and there we go, dudes. Cool. So the doppelgangers got taken down. I would imagine we're going to draw one item for this. There were 2 enemies, but I think you kind of treat it as one. I'm going to go ahead and draw one. I'm not too sure. I'm not too sure about that one. It does mention in the rulebook that there's an FAQ online where you can go and read up on certain rules. Let me actually grab the rulebook real quick to kind of point you guys in the right direction for that. Let's see if I can find it. Yeah, it does mention something about like an FAQ. Yeah, it says, tip, you'll find an FAQ on how specific chapter cards work at themeborn.com/FAQ. So there's probably some little, like pointers and tips to tell you exactly how certain cards work. So if you're confused about this, like I am in this case, where I'm like, do I get an item for each doppelganger? Or do I only get one item? I'm not sure. It probably has that answered in that FAQ at themeborn.com/FAQ. So check that out if you ever run into a situation like this. But for the sake of this video, I'm just going to keep rolling with it. I'm just going to draw one item. We got Rengorn's Rune. It's a relic. Whenever you roll a double, you may change it to any single. If you do, the double does not apply. Okay, cool. So we're going to go ahead and hang on to this here with the abbot. So while you won't be able to defend if you roll a double, you could change it to any single, and that might be like the last hit that you need to take out the enemy. So that's a very useful item, that rune right there. Cool. Okay, the cook still has a little bit more health, so she's going to continue to lead the way here. And oh my god, what is this thing? A creature stitched together using butchered animal parts scuttles towards you. It is so hideous you instinctively lash out. Begin combat. But you get to make one attack before the first round, taking no damage. And it says you, so it's talking about the cook. Special, combat special. The first time this creature is defeated, before drawing an item card, roll a chapter dice. If the result is might, it regenerates. You must restart combat and defeat it a second time. Oh my god. Okay, so it gets one might or one wisdom icon. And then there's a player icon. There's 2 characters, so we're going to roll 2 more chapter dice. And we're going to get a might and a cunning. He's got literally one of everything. So again, it says begin combat, but you, the cook, since she opened the door, you get to make one attack from the first round, or before the first round, taking no damage. Okay, so the cook gets a free attack in. She lashes out as this thing comes scuttling toward them. And she gets a might icon, so she's going to go ahead and knock off this might. And then we start the first round of combat. I'm going to choose not to rest with either of them. I want to have a chance to just knock this thing out right here. So we need wisdom and cunning. Okay, we got wisdom and wisdom. Okay, so we are going to knock off the wisdom, but unfortunately, it still has chapter dice, so it's still alive. It's going to attack each of them for 1 damage since we didn't roll any shield double icons. So we're going to go down to 11 here with the abbot, and we're going to go down to 14 on the cook. Cool. Okay, let's go again. The cook has a pretty good chance. I'm actually going to, I'm going to make the abbot rest. The abbot is going to back up and rest. He's going to go up to 12. And we're going to set his die here, and the cook's going to go for it. She's got like a 33% chance of getting cunning. This might work. Also, we could discard before any round of combat to change any chapter die to show a trait of your choice. Maybe she wants to do that and change this to might. She's going to do that. So she's going to drink the elixir of insight, change this chapter dice to might, and she's going to go ahead and roll. And she gets it, dude. She gets the might. Let's go. So she takes down the creature here, but it does say the first time this creature is defeated, before drawing an item card, roll a chapter dice, and if the result is might, it regenerates, and you have to start combat again and defeat it a second time. And it's not might. Thank goodness. We rolled wisdom. We took it down. We get to draw an item. And what do we get here? We've got another elixir of insight. Let's go. Okay, so the cook, she's like, oh, I've got a second one. It's all good. She's got one in her back pocket. Nice, guys. Okay, we took down the nasty creature. We're going to continue on. The cook is going to continue to lead the way. The abbot's like, okay, I think you got this. I think you got this. This nobleman seems out of place wandering the bowels of the castle. He offers a reward if you do not tell anyone you have seen him. As you talk, he covers his nose, visibly disgusted by you. As a group, choose one option. They are prisoners, remember, so they probably weren't living in the most hospitable conditions. It says, as a group, choose one option. Now, here's something pretty cool. So it doesn't mention this in the rulebook, but this is just my own personal suggestion, and I would imagine that the creators of the game would probably agree with me here, considering the game is supposed to be very, very thematic. It says that you can either aid him or attack him. Now, if you wanted to, you could read what it says and kind of gamify it a little bit, but if you really want to immerse yourself in it and make it super thematic, I would suggest maybe not reading ahead and just choosing one of the two options as if you're really playing one of these characters and you don't know what the consequences of your actions are going to be, just like you wouldn't know in real life. So I think that's probably the best way to do it. So it says, as a group, choose one option. But again, totally up to you. You can aid him or attack him. I'm going to aid him. I don't want to get into any fights. We're not super low on health, but I don't want to get into any fights unless we absolutely have to. It says you agree, and he rewards you. Now again, we're agreeing to not tell anybody in the castle that we've seen him. You agree, and he rewards you. Draw an item card. Okay, I like that. I like that. We got the Rotten Shield. It is armor. Whenever you would lose HP, reduce the amount by 1, down to a minimum of 1. Dude, that is awesome. Oh my god. Okay, we're gonna give that to the abbot. Awesome. So we're done with this card. It's got some little icons down here. I'm just now noticing. Yeah, that would have been, obviously, if you would attack him, you'd have to fight him. Do I want to swap any items between them? No, the abbot has lower health right now, so I'm going to let him keep the Rotten Shield. So whenever he would lose 1 HP, or whenever he would lose HP, you reduce the amount by 1 down to a minimum of 1. So if he takes 1 damage, you still have to take the 1 damage. If you took 2, it would go down to 1, yada yada. So you're always going to take at least 1 damage. The abbot is going to go ahead and open the next door. He's feeling brazen because he's got the shield. Okay, so it says, a skeletal form lies slumped in the corner of this dark chamber. Beneath the dust of ages, it still clutches a moldering map. As a group, choose one option. You can move on, or you could steal the map. Oh, man. I'm not going to look ahead. I'm not too sure what to do. Move on or steal the map. Let's steal the map, guys. It might be fun. Nominate a player, or in this case, nominate a character, to roll 2 wisdom in 3 attempts. Okay. The abbot has a great shot at that. So, again, he's got a lot of wisdom rolls here. So we're gonna go ahead and try. We need to roll 2 wisdom in 3 attempts. So if we roll a double wisdom, we're good to go. We roll double wisdom. We're good to go. Success. The map leads to a hidden cache. Draw 2 item cards. Let's go, guys. Heck yes. Okay, we got the Warped Cudgel, and we got Liquid Luck. Liquid Luck is good. You can discard to reroll your character die, applying only the second result. We lost that earlier, right? And then we got the Warped Cudgel. It's a weapon. It's one-handed. Once per round of combat, when you roll Might, you may roll again and choose which of the 2 results to apply. That's actually insanely good for the cook. That is really good for the cook. And now that we're done resolving this card, we're in between chapter cards, we can choose how we want to distribute loot, and we can trade back and forth. So I think I'm actually going to drop the rune. Yeah, this is tough. Only being able to hold 2 items is tough. And if you play with more players, obviously you'll have like a bigger inventory as a group. You know what I mean? So I'm going to go ahead and discard the rune. I'm going to let the cook give the... Ooh. Or maybe I just drop the flail. Yeah, because the rune is pretty good. I think I'm going to drop the flail, and the cook is going to pick up the cudgel, because it says when you roll might, and she's got the highest chance to roll might. With the rusted flail, it says when you roll cunning. And I could have given it to the abbot, but he's only got 1 face of his die that has cunning, so he sucks with cunning. That's like the last weapon in the world that he wants. And then we've got Liquid Luck. I think I'm going to drop the Liquid Luck. I think I'm going to drop it. I'm just going to keep the other stuff that we have now. That seems good. Okay, cool, man. That was awesome. We found the hidden cache with the map. We're going to move on. The abbot is going to continue forward with his little rotten shield buckler out in front of him. And what do we find, guys? A series of long blades swing from the ceiling of this narrow passageway. You study the pattern of their movement and prepare to dash through to the other side. In unison, all players must roll their character die along with 1 chapter die 3 times. Each time a player's character die matches the chapter die they rolled, they are caught by the blades and lose 2 HP. If a player rolls a double on any of the 3 rolls, they survive that roll without taking damage. Okay, so it does say in unison. If you were all sitting around as a group, you would roll your dice in front of you, so you'd be able to keep track of it better. In this case, I'm rolling all the dice into a dice tray, so I'm going to do them one at a time as to not get them mixed up. So all players, or in this case all characters, must roll their character die along with 1 chapter die 3 times, and then each time the dice match, each time the 2 dice match, they're caught by the blades and lose 2 HP. And again, if you roll doubles on any of the 3 rolls, you survive that roll without taking damage. So let's go ahead and roll for the cook. The first blade, okay, it would have hit her because the symbols match, but she rolled a double, so she gets through. She goes through the second blade, she runs past, and oof, the dice match, so she's going to lose 2 HP and go down to 12. She gets clipped by the second one, and she's shaken, but she's going to dart past the third one, and we're just going to take whatever we rolled here, And it doesn't match, so she's good. She doesn't take any further damage. Nice. So the cook gets through with just minimal damage. The abbot is going to run behind her, trying to block with his shield. They don't match, and he rolled a shield, so he would have blocked either way. He's going to run through the second swinging blade, and they don't match, and he rolled a shield again. So last one for the abbot. He's doing well so far, and they don't match. So he gets through scot-free, dude. He takes absolutely no damage. Let's go. Cool, that is it. They're going to keep moving forward. They've got even health now. The abbot is going to continue to press forward in the lead and open the door. Two deformed thugs are debating the best way to kill and eat another man when they notice your arrival. That's fantastic. Nominate a player to roll wisdom or a double in one attempt. Okay, the abbot has high wisdom, so he's going to go ahead and roll. And he rolls it. Let's go. We rolled wisdom. Success. The attackers flee, and the victim rewards you from his nearby stash. Each player may either gain 1 HP or an item card. I'm pretty nice. I'm feeling pretty good. Feeling pretty nice with our kit over here. So I'm going to go ahead and have them gain 1 HP each. Each player, or each character in this case, may either gain 1 HP or an item. They're going to gain 1 HP. So we're going to go from 12 up to 13 on both of our characters here, on the abbot and the cook. Cool. It's so funny, dude. Every time I say abbot, it makes me think of the scene from Robin Hood Men in Tights where the guy's like, "Hey, abbot!" It makes me think of that every freaking time, dude, I swear. When I first played the game and I saw the characters, I just like said that out loud as soon as I saw him. I was like, yep, I'm playing him. Okay, cool. So we made it out, and that's it. The abbot is going to lead the way. He's going to open the next door, and oh my god, what is about to happen, guys? Are we stumbled into a wolf den? You have been hunted by the ferocious castle hounds. You become separated, and each of you must fight alone. Roll a chapter die in front of each player to represent the hounds attacking them. However, the hounds can sense weakness. Players with less than half their starting HP should roll 2 chapter dice instead and begin combat. Okay, fortunately for us, we're not at, does it say less than? Players with less than half. Yeah, so we would have to, half of our starting of 18 would be 9. We'd have to have 8 or less health. Fortunately, we don't have 8 or less health. We're well above that. So we're good there. So we only need to roll 1 per character. So it says roll a chapter die in front of each player to represent the hounds attacking them. Okay, so I'm going to roll for the cook. She's got a might symbol. That's fantastic. That's exactly what she wants. And we're going to roll for the abbot. And he's got cunning, and that is exactly what he doesn't want because he's only got 1 cunning. It says begin combat, and then there's a combat special. Make sure you always check the combat special before starting. It says no player can rest until the hounds attacking them are defeated. They may then either rest or help another player defeat theirs. A player aiding another takes damage as normal. It must decide who they are aiding before they roll. So very similar, exactly the same actually, as the doppelgangers that we fought earlier that came out of that mirror. Cool. Okay, so they've got to fight alone, 1 at a time. So the cook is going to attack first. And she misses, guys. Can she do anything? No. Discard before any round of combat to change any chapter die to a die showing the trait of your choice. But she wants this to be on might. She just happened to miss. So she's going to get hit for 1 damage from the wolf that's attacking her. Okay, and then the abbot is going to go. The abbot is in a bad way, guys. He's in a bad way. We do have the rune in case we roll a double. He attacks. He does not roll a double. He's going to take 1 damage. Again, the Rotten Shield reduces damage by 1, but down to a minimum of 1. So he's going to take 1 and go down to 12. Okay, we're getting chewed up by these wolves right now. The cook is going to go. She rolls might, and she bashes the wolf with the warped cudgel, dude. The wolf is dead. Let's go. Okay, and then the abbot is going to go. So the abbot is going to attack again. Also, now that the cook has finished killing off her wolf, it says that they may either rest or help another player defeat theirs. So the cook is actually going to come aid the abbot now. And look at that, guys. The abbot did it all by himself, man. He rolled the 1 cunning pip on his die and took down the wolf. Let's go. So again, this is another one of those instances where there were 2 enemies. I'm not sure if you draw 2 item cards or just 1. I'm just going to draw 1 since we're resolving just 1 card. We got another rotten shield. Well, we'll just toss that on the ground. We'll just throw that away. Okay, cool. We'll put the cook die back over here, abbot dice here. Cool, and then we're going to continue on with the adventure, guys. The abbot is going to open up the next door. We're getting very close to the boss, guys. And as you can see, I know we're well into our adventure here. The game is super simple. but in the greatest way possible, guys. It is so, so fun, and I could really see this being fun in a group setting, too, where you're all kind of cooperating with one another and trying to figure out how to get out of here alive as a group. Really cool. It's also extremely fun solo, so I hope you guys are enjoying this so far. We're going to continue with the adventure and see if we can make it all the way through the castle, guys. It says, this passageway leads to a set of old stone steps. They descend into a flooded cave. The water is murky, but a dim light is visible some distance below. You take a deep breath and dive, kicking towards the light. Each player must try to roll a double in one attempt. Okay, so here we go. We're going to roll. We need a double in one attempt. And who is this right here? This is the abbot. The abbot got away with it, and we don't get to do it with the cook, unfortunately. Okay, so it says success. You make it through, surfacing on the other side. So the abbot makes it through, but the cook fails. You begin to flounder, lose 1 HP, and try again. If you have not succeeded after 3 attempts, you make it through breathless and exhausted. Okay, so the cook loses 1 HP, goes down to 11. That's her first attempt. So she's got 2 more tries. She needs to roll a double. And she doesn't get it. Uh-oh, guys. She goes down to 10. She's floundering. She gets 1 more shot at this. She needs a double. Even if we fail here, she still makes it out the other side, but exhausted. And she does manage to get it. Okay, she conserves at least 1 HP right there. Nice. Okay, we make it out to the other side. The abbot is going to go ahead and flip the next card. It says, you stumble upon a recently vacated guard room. A pot of steaming broth simmers on the stove, and a fire still smolders in the grate. You hear the sound of angry voices and footsteps heading your way. You grab what you can find before slipping away into the darkness beyond. Draw an item card. Okay, cool. We get something for free. What do we get? We got the Fury Shard. It is a relic. It says, once per round of combat, when you roll a double, you may roll again and apply both results. Oh my goodness. That is crazy. When you roll a double, you may roll again and apply both results. Holy. I'm going to drop the Elixir of Insight, guys. I kind of want to try this out. I want to try that out. We've already used the Elixir of Insight. Let's see if we could use that. That sounds really cool. Okay, the abbot is going to continue leading the way and open the next door. Are we just 1 card? We're 2 cards away, guys, after this one. It says, bringing his cart to a halt beside you, an intriguing stranger insists you sample his latest brew. A healing elixir, he claims. A spiked club dangles from his belt, and, keen as you are to move on, you feel it would be unwise to refuse. How bad can it be? You must choose one option. Again, you is in bold, so the abbot has to choose. Take a sip, or take a long draw. Oof. I'm just going to take a little sip, I think. Let's just take a little sip. The man smiles and rewards you. Draw an item card. Okay. That's awesome. A partially rotten apple. It's food. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and the cook is going to set down her shard. She's going to pick up the apple and eat it to gain 1 HP, and then pick up her shard again. So she's going to go up to 11. And of course we could do that because we're in between cards. Because we've gone ahead and resolved this. Nice. Okay, the abbot is going to lead the way once again. We're getting so close to the end, guys. What the hell is this thing? It says, where there once was flesh and fur, the bones of the skeletal beast now crackle with the menacing power of dark magic. Begin combat. Combat special. Whenever you would remove a chapter die by hitting this enemy, roll it instead. If the result is wisdom, do not remove it. Put it back wisdom side up. Oh my goodness, that's insane. Okay, so this guy's going to have 1 cunning, 1 wisdom, and the little meeple symbol. So we've got to roll 2 more since we've got 2 characters in the game. Jeez, so he's got another cunning and another wisdom. And again, it says, whenever you would remove a chapter die by hitting this enemy, you got to roll it instead. And if the result is wisdom, you don't remove it. You put it back wisdom side face up. That is crazy. Okay, I'm going to choose not to rest with either of these guys. Do we want to do anything? No, okay. So let's go ahead and roll. We're going to attack here. Okay, the abbot, he hits for 1 wisdom. And the cook rolls might, but it says, with the warped cudgel, once per round of combat, when you roll might, you may roll again and choose which of the 2 results to apply. Okay, so we've got might. We can roll again. And we've got double cunning. Oh my god, and a shield. So she takes down both cunning. Also, I already forgot. I need to roll this for the abbot. The damage. It's wisdom, so it sticks around. And then I've got to roll both of these. And, okay, good. Neither of those were wisdom, so we get to get 2 hits in right there. So the cook is going to get shielded. She's not going to take any damage, but the abbot did not get a shield, so he's going to take 2 damage here, and he stops 1 damage with his rotten shield, so he takes 1 and goes down to 11. Nice. That rotten shield already coming in handy. Really, really good. Okay, we're going to attack again with both. We're not resting. Okay, we've got an attack here with, who is this? This is the cook, so she's going to deal 1 might, so we're going to go ahead and roll. Nice, let's go. It wasn't wisdom, so she takes that off. And the abbot got the doubles. It does say whenever you roll a double, you may change it to any single. And if you do, the double does not apply. And you don't have to discard this. It's just whenever you do that. Oh my god, that thing's insane. Okay, so we're going to change this double to a single to hit him. And we're going to roll, and hopefully we don't regret that decision. We don't regret that decision. Let's freaking go, guys. Oh my gosh, that is awesome. Dang, the rune is sick. The rune is super sick. Let's go. So we took him down. We get to draw an item card. And we got the Effervescent Evasion Potion. Whenever you would lose HP, discard this item to lose none. That is good, but guys, I think I like my other stuff, man. The Fury Shard, once per round of combat, when you roll a double, you may roll again and apply both results. That's insane. No, we're going to keep what we have. We're going to keep what we have. Cool. I like that you have to make tough decisions like that, though. Really, really cool. Okay, the abbot is going to open up the last door before the boss, guys. I can't believe we made it this far. Several armed figures spring from the shadows and attack. Great. You become separated, and each player must fight alone. No. Roll a chapter die in front of each player to represent the muggers attacking them. However, the muggers want your items. Players carrying 2 items roll 2 chapter dice instead of 1. Begin combat. Okay, so let's go ahead and set that up before we read their combat special. So they each have 2 items, so we have to roll 2 chapter dice for both of them. So this will be for the cook. Okay, her mugger has double might, and she is loving it, dudes, because she's got might for days. And then for the abbot, he's hoping for a couple of wisdom rolls here. He got 1. He got one wisdom roll there. Nice. Cool. And then it says, combat special. Each time a player would take damage from a mugger, they may avoid it by discarding an item. No player can rest until the muggers attacking them are defeated. They may then either rest or help another player defeat theirs. A player aiding another takes damage as normal and must declare who they're aiding before they roll. So similar to the wolves and the doppelgangers earlier. Okay, so the cook is going to attack first. And again, you've got to attack one at a time because we're split up here. So the cook is going to attack her mugger first. And she rolls wisdom, and that's not what you want to see, guys. That is not what you want to see at all. So she's going to get attacked for 1 damage here and drop to 10. Again, you can discard an item, it says, to not take any damage, but considering they only deal 1 damage, we're okay with it. The abbot is going to attack. He's going to go ahead and roll. And he rolls cunning. Okay, that's good. So he's going to deal 1 damage here. And then he's going to take 1 damage back and go down to 10. Again, he does have that buckler up there, that rotten shield, but you have to take at least 1 damage, a minimum of 1. Okay, the cook is going to attack. Oops, it landed out, but you know what? We're going to take it, guys. We're going to take that roll. We got double might. So she's going to knock out her mugger there, and then she's going to go over to assist the abbot. We need 1 wisdom, and we got it. We got double wisdom. So we took down the other mugger, and who was that? That was the abbot. Nice. The abbot took him down. Cool stuff. So we're going to go ahead and grab 1 item here. Boom. We got the liquid luck. We've seen this a couple times. It says you could discard to reroll your character die, applying only the second result. I'm going to go ahead and discard this. Again, I really like the items that we have. I feel like we're really hooked up right now. Okay, cool, man. This is it, guys. We're moving into the boss. So it says on the back of the boss card, do not read until you have completed the last chapter card. This is it. You have reached the final challenge. One last obstacle stands between you and freedom. Turn over now. Boom. What do we got? The Dark One. Ooh. He says, your pitiful trinkets are no match for my dark magic. As you enter, and it says you in bold, so that's the abbot. He opened the door. As you enter the door... did I specify that? I meant to. The abbot is opening the door, guys. As you enter the door, or as you enter the Dark One's presence, any items you are carrying vaporize. Other players keep theirs. Discard them now. Okay, so the Rotten Shield and the Rune vaporize. That is absolutely brutal. Begin combat. Okay, this guy has 1 cunning. He's got 3 wisdom. My goodness, guys, this is gonna be a dogfight here. He's got 3 wisdom, and then he's got the meeple symbol. So we've got to roll 2 more because we've got 2 characters. Can we do this? Can we do this? He's got another wisdom and another cunning. We didn't get any might, and the cook was really hoping for some might, guys. Okay, here we go. We're going to go ahead and fight. Neither of them are going to rest. They just need to get into combat and take out the dark one as fast as possible. So we're going to go ahead and roll. And the abbot gets a wisdom. And the cook gets a cunning. Okay, so there we go. We took a third of its health down already. It's going to attack, and it does 3 damage. Wow. So the abbot drops to 7, and the cook drops to 7. Okay, it's top of the round. We're going to go ahead and attack again. And, okay, we got double might over here. So it says once per round of combat, when you roll a double, you may roll again and apply both results. It also says once per round of combat, when you roll might, you may roll again and choose which of the 2 results to apply. So this is basically just better in this situation because we can apply both, and we've got the shield. So she's going to also block in addition to hitting for 1 cunning. Nice. And then the abbot rolled a cunning, but that doesn't really help in this scenario. So he's going to take 3 and go to 4, but we get to apply that first roll also for the cook, and she defends. Okay, we're going to attack again. We just need 3 wisdom, guys. Okay, we got 1 wisdom here on the cook's roll, so we're going to take that off. The abbot is going to defend, but then the cook is going to take 3 and drop to 4, and we're getting really, really close. Remember, if either character dies, the game is over. So if the abbot dies, that's it. We lose. If the cook dies, that's it. We lose. Let's go again. And oh, we got double cunning. That's not what you want to see, dudes. He attacks and he puts them both on 1. Oh no, they're both at 1, guys. This is as close as it gets. The cook and the abbot are barely hanging on. The dark one is looming over them. Can they do it? No. They don't do it, guys. He attacks for 3 and he takes down the abbot and the cook. The dark one claims the cook and the abbot as his victims. Dang, dude, we almost escaped from the dark castle, man. It's so freaking cool. So there it was, guys. There was a playthrough and tutorial for Escape the Dark Castle, the game of atmospheric adventure. And I want to give some shout outs. Hold on, let me grab the rule book from down here real quick. I want to give some shout outs. So it says game design, Thomas Pike, Alex Crispin, James Shelton, and the art and graphic design was by Alex Crispin. So shout out to you guys for designing such an amazing game, guys. Super, super cool game. Can't recommend it enough, guys. So if you want to pick up the game, I highly recommend it, guys. I would imagine you could go to themeborn.com to get it. Yeah, go over to themeborn.com and pick up a copy of Escape from the Dark Castle. So there it is. I also have Escape from the Dark Sector, which is a sort of sci-fi version of this game that they've created. So be on the lookout for that one in the future too. We'll do a tutorial and playthrough of that game as well. So if you like the video, guys, be sure to hit the thumbs up like button, hit the red subscribe button, and click the bell so you can stay notified every time I upload brand new videos. And there will definitely be more playthroughs of Escape the Dark Castle coming in the near future, guys. So until then, have a good one, and I'll see you guys in the next video.